Stream. So, let's go live. And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also, I'd like to welcome my buddy, Rich.
Welcome. Hey, it's great to be here, Mike, as always with you. Um, yeah, pretty normal week for me. How was nothing really to report? Um, Nothing really of note to talk about on my side. Mike, how are you? How's your week been?
My week's good. My baby has uh, doubled in age. So that's a thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but no, everything's going well. We are should be finishing up 2 hour feedings here soon, and then we're going to move on to 3, maybe even 4 hour feedings, which will be great. So,
I bet. So with any of the late night or waking up, taking a nap, what pretty much turned into napping, getting up, feeding the baby, and going back to napping. Did you get to watch any of the really bad West Coast baseball that the Cubs have been playing in?
no. I
No.
kind of
Okay.
just skipped it because I've been following it on stuff, and it I knew it wasn't going well, so I just am like, nope, not worth it at all.
All right. Well, Mike, since we're still kind of under a time crunch,
Oh no, we're good.
not a
We're
big
good.
one. I know, not a big one, but still under one. Do you want to do a show preview going
Oh
through the outline real quick?
so
Okay.
we have we're talking playoffs, and talking how those are going, and hopefully one of us will get to watch some of them sometime, and then and then we have horses to talk about. What else we got, Rich?
Well, Mike, we got a lot of racing to talk about as we not only have NASCAR but also the 24 hours of Le Mans,
Yeah,
as well as the big news to come out of the golf world, unexpectedly that came out, and of course the we got to talk the Cubs somehow. Got to take something out of this Cubs really bad road trip that they're on. That's still going on. That's still going on. But Mike, all that and more. But what do we got to do
we
first?
gotta roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Okay, but before we get into any of those topics, we got to talk poll questions. As this week's poll question was, the house is a rockin' versus Thunderstruck. Man, Rich, as much as last week was a close match, but and ended up going to a tiebreaker. Yeah, this week was not. How did you vote first?
I voted with the House as a Rockin'. For me, the two songs kind of originate between the Quad City Thunder and the Quad City Steamwheelers, and really, I enjoyed watching more Thunder games when they played at Wharton Fieldhouse as opposed to the Mark. And I always really enjoyed going to the Steamwheeler games when they were in the AF2, um, not what other league they're in now. So I went with the House as a Rockin', which was a frequent song played, um, associated with those 2001, 2003 Steamwheelers.
Yeah, and I enjoyed both of those, but I just in general, Thunderstruck is a much better. And like that that intro is just iconic. And Rich, we had 9 votes this week. Your dad voted with you, if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, a little bit. Give the shout outs on who voted with you along with for
I voted for
Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck. Yeah, 7 votes for Thunderstruck. Matco Will, that's my cousin. Debbie Scranton Washburn, my aunt. Josh Hendricks, your brother. Your wife. Mike Sable and Mikey, a roterer. So 100% of Michaels agree that AC/DC is better. Just saying.
Yeah, and I can get that. I tried to get something to tie it to, and what I associate that song with, that's why I went with The House is a Rockin'.
Totally get it.
All right, Mike. So we're into the Elite Eight.
Oh, are
The
we?
Elite Eight. Yeah, we're gonna go into the Elite Eight this week.
Okay, let's do
So
it.
this week's Elite Eight matchup is gonna be Sweet Caroline going against Take Me Home, Country Roads.
That
Two
is
songs.
awesome.
Two songs you can easily sing along with, whether you're at the stadium, whether you're at the bar, whether you're
Man,
out and listen. When
Rich,
these two songs, when the song comes on the radio,
Rich,
you're singing along with it.
That's terrible. You can't do that to me. Those are two great songs. I mean,
I know.
you're putting John Denver against Neil Diamond. Oh, that's harsh. I mean,
It's the Elite Eight, Mike. You're
Ba,
gonna
ba,
have tough
ba.
matchups sooner or later.
yeah.
And this is just the first week of it.
This one is going to be closely contested, I think.
I think so. I think so. As the polls come out, you could see ones where it's probably going to be lopsided, and ones like this where it could be tight.
This one I think is
You're
going to
gonna
be
have
tight.
those.
It could be tight, or it's going to be just so overly lopsided it's going to be ridiculous. Nobody's going to vote for the one. I know which one I'm voting for. But man, it's a hard choice. Okay, let's get into playoff talk. Rich, Stanley Cup Finals going on. Knights lead 2-1. Game 4 is tomorrow night on TNT. What are you feeling? How you feeling about those Golden Knights?
I really haven't been following the series too closely. It hurts that it's on a channel that I don't have access to.
Yeah.
So it's just been kind of seeing what they're talking about, trying to read articles or read the headlines on ESPN.com about it. So I guess the Panthers pulled off an overtime victory to get their first win of the series down in the Miami metropolitan area in Game 3. So I think it's still anybody's series.
Yeah, I think it really is. I know who I want to win, but we don't get to make those choices. Those guys got to show up and play, and I still say let's go Golden Knights. So,
all right, over on the hardwood, Mike, the Nuggets lead the NBA Finals 2-1. Game 4 is currently being played, and you can catch the NBA Finals over on ABC and ESPN Plus.
yeah, let's go Nuggets, man. The Nuggets are looking good. They did lose one game at home, so that means that their home court advantage is gone. They need to get at least one back in Miami, down in Miami in order to do anything about it.
And they did get Game 3 down in Miami. I think it was. They split the two games in Denver.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And now they got the first game down in Miami. So I mean, I like the Nuggets in this series as well.
Yeah.
I gave you that one because since you picked the Nuggets at the very beginning of the year to go all the way, so I got a feeling I'm gonna be giving you lunch.
I'm okay with
buying you a lunch. And I'm okay with that. I mean, but the Heat aren't going down. They're going down swinging.
They are.
But they almost have to have They have to play a perfect game, as they don't have as
well. And I read somewhere
they have to play a perfect game, and because they don't have much room for error with the amount of talent that's around Nikolai Jokic and Jamal Murray.
And I'm trying to look up the exact stat, but
And while you're looking that up, Mike,
the Heat have 9 undrafted players in their 17-man roster. 9. That means only 6 of their guys were drafted in the NBA.
Yeah, at the half, Mike, it is 55-51 Denver Nuggets.
Okay. And you know what? After we're done with this, I'm probably going to go watch that. So that'll be nice. Okay. Let's start making some left turns as we go to the baseball diamond and run around the bases. Rich, last week's the Cubs started this West Coast swing, 3 against the Padres, 3 against the Angels, 1 against the Giants. That 1 against the Giants is going on right now. So we don't take that one into consideration, which theoretically drops us both to 2 and 3 respectively, if you want to do it that way. And yet the Cubs couldn't even do that as they go 1. They win 1 against the Padres, lose the other one, or lose the other 2, and are swept by the Angels.
So Mike, I only went show to show. So Friday's game with the Padres did not count for our show to show record. So from show to show, they split with the Padres, but got swept by the Angels.
Yeah.
And those Angels games, by just going off of the scores, those were rough games. It wasn't like it was a close. Those weren't close losses.
Nope. And they're not looking good. And I don't know what they need to do. It's looking rough.
The only bright side coming out of this is that Marcus Stroman is pitching really well. He's on the bump tonight. But we lost Justin Steele, who at least through until his last 2 starts was looking like, hey, he might make the All-Star team out of this. We might get more than 1 All-Star. But he's kind of run into a rough patch as he's now on the injured list.
Yep.
Maybe things will start turning around as I think Cody Bellinger is out in Arizona rehabbing. So maybe when they come back home to face the Buccos for 3 games, he'll be back in center field.
Yeah, I don't know. This team has looked promising at the beginning of the year. Came out of the gates running, and are we talking our June swoon? Like, is that?
I almost think you are.
Are we looking at a Cubs team reminiscent of the mid '90s, late '90s, where on paper they look like they have some good names? They end up doing okay at the beginning of the season, get some hype going, and then by the end of June we're saying, okay, wait till next year.
That's really what it's looking to be. I hate
that.
I don't know. I know. The only good thing that you can look at with the way the team is playing right now is that at least we're not as bad as the Cardinals.
Yeah.
As the Cardinals, albeit by only a half a game, we're a half a game better than the St. Louis Cardinals.
Which is nice.
At least we're not in last place.
Yeah. So.
But that's it.
Okay. Rich, this week they have 2 against the Giants, 3 against the Pirates, and 1 against the Orioles. I'm going to give them a half game. No?
Explain your logic on the half a game.
So what's going to happen is, for some reason, next Friday we're gonna record early or something. They'll be in the progress because it'll be a Friday noon game, right?
Yes.
So magically, you and I will be recording then. You'll be off work magically. I don't know why. But while we're doing it, they'll be tied, or they will have the lead at the time, and then by the time we end, or by the time they finish the game, they'll still lose. But we'll have been off the air, so that'll be a half win.
So are you saying they're going to get swept by the Giants, and they're not even going to win any of the games against the Pirates?
I think Oh, I don't know. I don't know that they're good enough to do that. I'm going to give them one win. And I think you're right. I think it will end up being the Pirates, but...
I'm going to hope for 2, although I'm not liking my chances because I think we're only going to get one Marcus Stroman start since we're not counting tonight's game where he's on the bump.
Yep.
So I'm going to go 2, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's one game. You never know what's going to happen with those division games against the Pirates. And
the Orioles suck, but...
the Orioles are good. Yeah. They really are, Mike. You can say, oh, they suck. But right now, the Orioles are second place in the American League East, 39-24.
Give it another month.
Give it another month.
They'll trade away all their players or something. I don't know. But either way, I don't think it's going to be a good week for us. I got nothing good about it. It's looking kind of gross. But when do we start talking about who to trade and how to make those trades work for us?
I think you almost got to look at the end of the month. Give it till the end of the month before you start seeing who's going to be traded.
No, trade them now. So, okay.
So, Mike, are you ready to make a left-hand turn? Fast left-hand turn.
I do, Rich. Do you see what's coming up after that left turn?
Mike, is it another left turn?
No, this time it's a right turn because we're on a road course, Rich, as we head into the NASCAR corner. Presented by, as always, by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out at 5th Avenue for all your sports memorabilia needs or at their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Okay, Rich, with this week, this last week, we were in Illinois at the Enjoy Illinois 300 at the Worldwide Technology Raceway in Madison, Illinois, just outside of St. Louis. Rich, did you get to watch the race?
I did. I did watch the race. I think
it went from
we got to go. We got a good nap in there, but we did watch the race.
You could have gotten a couple naps in there with his. They had a 3-hour rain delay, and then come back, and they get the racing in, and then that second half was just littered with cautions and wrecks.
Yeah, we had exactly. You had 3 guys get wrecked because of bad rotors. Rotors exploding. Broken rotors. Yeah.
Which is kind of a big deal. So, with all of that, we still have, with all of that, your winner was Kyle Busch. Rich, your pick of Ryan Blaney ended in 6th. I picked Joey Logano, who finished 3rd, bringing our this year record to 11-7. You're in the lead.
Yes, 11-7. On the fantasy side, Mike, let me pull up those standings here real quick. All right, for the Worldwide Technology Center Raceway, coming in last place, tied for last, was Jeffrey the Stroop and Jordan the Supas, getting 0 points. Jenna Beans came in 5th with 41. The Funkhouse got 151 points. Mikey came in 3rd with 157. Dupo came in 2nd with 193, and I won the race with 228 points.
Rich, that means you have the lead at 2,689 points. Solomon is just behind you. Dupo 24 at 2658. Funkhouse has 2381, and I'm just on her heels at 2314. Jordan the Supis is at 1861. Jenna Beans is at 1805. And Jeffrey the Stroop is at 1364.
All right, Mike. So make sure, so everybody that's in our fantasy league, make sure to set your lineups. Don't put goose eggs out there. Put something together, or choose another 10 drivers that you choose another 6 drivers that you haven't used yet, that you got 10 out of 10, and then for the next 10 weeks you can not worry about it. Just take the points that you can get out of those 5 drivers that you haven't used yet. So Mike, this week's race, any other final thoughts about from the Enjoy 300, the Enjoy Illinois 300, besides the busted rotors that happened a lot?
No, I really don't. It was it was a fun race to watch. Good track to enjoy, but yeah, it's one of those that it's fun. I mean, it was a great time.
Okay. I guess I do have one thing here with Chase Elliott getting suspended for the wreck that he caused with Denny Hamlin. Should Austin Dillon be getting suspended for the wreck that he had with Austin Cindric? Or was the wreck not intentional enough to warrant a suspension?
I don't think it was intentional enough.
Okay.
So,
just a thought. Were you surprised that Corey LaJoie almost kind of fumbled it, or kind of had a missed opportunity getting in great equipment with Hendrick Motorsports for a race and still couldn't get out of the top 20?
No. Most of the Hendricks cars were not doing well at the beginning, and they all talked about it. And the way to make your car better is communication between the driver and everybody else and his crew, right? So if I can tell you, hey, this is what I need, or this is what I'm having problems with, you're gonna realize, hey, like when it's a crew chief you work with all the time, then everybody, then it's gonna be that communication is smooth and everybody's on the same page. When you don't have that same communication, when it's somebody you don't know, that's when you're going to have problems, and that's when things are going to have, that's when things are going bad, and that's what you're going to see. And that's what happened last week. They had bad cars. They worked to get them better, but when you don't have people that are well known or great at working together, not a surprising thing. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
All right, I kind of thought he would have done a little bit better, and well, hopefully he gets another chance in with a more, I guess, an organization that has more resources.
Yeah.
More resources than he's currently at with Spire Motorsports. So yeah, maybe, I mean, there's going to be 2 spots, at least one spot, maybe 2 seats open it up at Stuart Haas this year. Maybe he'll get a chance to go over to Stuart Haas. But he didn't really help himself with this performance in the number 9 car with Chase Elliott out though.
Totally.
All right, Mike. So this week the NASCAR circuit is heading out west for the final race on the Fox network for 2023, as they're going to be out in wine country at Sonoma for the Toyota Save Mart 350.
Yep.
Mike, who are you going to go with since you have the honors?
I'm going to go with a road course ringer, as he normally is called, but he's got a full-time ride this year, AJ Allmendinger.
All right, I like the pick. Allmendinger is really a guy that you always want. I think is a factor to win any road course that he's in the NASCAR circuit. But I'm going to go with a guy I haven't picked yet this year, but has also kind of been a sleeper on the road courses, and I'm going to go with Chris Buescher.
Okay, I
He's
like
done
it.
pretty well on the road. He's done pretty well on the road courses so far this year, and so yeah, I'm gonna go with somebody new as well.
Okay, that totally works. So,
All right, Mike. So where else are we racing this week?
Rich, we also have to go over to France, where a NASCAR car is going to be racing in the 24 hours of Le Mans.
That's right. So what type? So we'll kind of talk about that, but let's give our picks for who we're gonna go with. So Mike, because you know a little bit more about this than I do, which circuit or which group of cars are we going to be picking from?
So the cars that are going to probably be the best are going to be the hypercar group. These are probably the cars that are going to win and they're going to have the fastest cars. They're going to be the best. So those are the ones that if you're trying to pick who's going to win it overall, that's probably what you're looking for. Um, so with that, uh, I'm gonna then you take a look at those cars. So they actually have four different types of cars on the track, and four different categories. So they have the
Okay.
hypercars, the Le Mans P2 is what they're called. That's LMP2, which they're also like the hypercars look like futuristic, really like wind tunnel driven cars that just go. Um, then the LMP2s look very similar, but are slightly different. And then you get over to the GTE group, and they actually have cars that you've heard of. They have Porsche 911s. They have Ferrari 388s, Aston Martin Vanquishes. They have Corvettes. I think that's it for this year's lineup. Yeah, that's it for this year's lineup for that class. And then in what I will describe best as a stunt slash grab for fans, Hendrick Motorsports is putting out has a car that is going to be driven out there. A one of the Camaro ZL1 Camaros that is a NASCAR, full NASCAR body style. They've done quite a bit to make it to get better handling out of it, make it slightly quicker, but they're still running that rear dam, that rear wing on the back that's basically a parachute for those guys. So it doesn't, I mean, it ends up not being super fast. You would think in a straight line it would blow everybody away, but once it has great acceleration, but once it gets going, once it gets up to top speed, it starts slowing. It tends to be slightly slower than some of those other cars out there because they're not fully designed in a wind tunnel to be excuse me, slick through the air going 200 miles an hour, which a lot of these other cars are. So um, with that being said, the we are picking from the hypercars. So, Rich, what team are you picking this week?
I'm gonna go with the number 7 car, which is Toyota Gazoo Racing. They're trying to be driving a Toyota GR10 hybrid, and that's going to be piloted by Mike Conway, Kaimi Kobayashi, probably said that wrong, and Jose Maria Lopez. So
Okay.
Kaimi was one person that stuck out to me with that, because I believe he's going to be coming over to the NASCAR race I think for the Chicago Street Race. I think he's going to drive a third entry car for Michael Jordan's team.
Okay, that'll be fun. I am going to pick the number 3 Cadillac Racing, piloted by Sebastian Bourdais, uh, Renger Zandy, and
Yeah.
Scott Dixon. Uh, that's going to be my team, and I love Scott Dixon. Picked him for the Indy 500. I am a big fan of his in general. So yeah, look for that team. That racing starts 4 p.m. local time in France, which is right now it's like 10 hours or 11 hours and 41 minutes roughly. So tomorrow at 10 a.m. Our time, I believe.
Do we know what network that's on?
I'm guessing. Um, I'm guessing it'll be one of the NBCs, if not Peacock.
Ooh. Looking that up right. I think I got it. It's on the Motor Trend channel. Don't know what that is. Don't know where you can find that. So I guess check your local list.
Oh, it is on Fubo.
Fubo.
So
Okay.
we should be able to. I should be able to watch it. Yeah. So look for that to happen. Okay, Rich. Do we leave the NASCAR corner for this last one, or do we? Because they're still going around in a circle. Do we stay with the NASCAR corner?
No. They're going around in circles, but they're on they're on the animals, not
Okay.
cars. So
So-
so I think we gotta give our sponsor a plug, and before going out to the track, the horse track. So this was the NASCAR corner, and actually this week will be more of the racing corner, presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Check them out in Moline, Illinois, down on Fifth Avenue, or you can find them on eBay. Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. All right, Mike, we got to pick the ponies one more time as they're going to be out in Long Island for the Belmont Stakes.
Yeah. So, sorry. Like I said, I am. We're still doing 2-hour feedings, so I am kind of spent. That's why I'm yawning so much. But with the Belmont Stakes, I was looking at it, and the horse that I originally wanted to pick for the Kentucky Derby is actually racing, and that's Forte, and I was really tempted to pick Forte.
Okay.
Really, I was, but ended up I got to go with the horse that got me to the race, the one that won the last one. Let's go National Treasure.
All right, I am picking my horse on name alone, and I'm going to go with Hit Show.
Okay.
So you can check that out 4 o'clock Saturday over on the Fox. Over on Fox. All right, Mike. So we only got really one quick hit to talk about, but it's kind of a big one.
Yeah.
And it is that the PGA Tour, Live Golf, and the DP World Tour have come to an agreement to merge and form a new golf entity that is yet to be named. So, Mike, what's your initial? What are your thoughts on this thing?
I don't like it. The PGA Tour, mostly the line in the sand that was drawn. The line in the sand that the PGA Tour was like, we can't do this. This isn't what this. We don't want to. We don't want to take their money. There's been tons of controversy because let's get this out there first. The Live Tour is being sponsored by the Saudi public. What is it? The Saudi. Oh, I just had it here.
The Saudi Public Investment Fund.
Right. By the way, that's just the higher ups and the monarchy of the Saudi Arabia. And people pointed at the civil rights going on in Saudi Arabia. They pointed at um,
Them having ties to the 9/11
yeah,
times.
the 9/11 stuff. They 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 have all sorts of other things. Um, the PGA has also one of the things that the Live Tour has been about is we're gonna just have fun. Now, I don't know what this is gonna look like. Golf, I think, should be fun. I love going out, having a beer or four, whacking some balls, and just hanging out. That's a great time. Backyard football is great. But, Rich, when you sit down to watch the NFL, do you want to see trick plays every other play?
No.
Do you want to see 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi,
No.
8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10? Go! No.
Yeah. I mean, I also
That's-
don't want to see fair catch at the end of every kickoff either, but we're going to get that.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. But
That was last week's show. We talked about that last week.
or in basketball, do you want to see in the NBA? Do you want to see it being played like how they were playing in the and one basketball tour stuff?
Oh, a bunch of trick shots,
Yeah.
behind the back passes, no look passes that may or may not work out, and alley oops.
All the heckling that came from the announcers that literally would make fun of people who were playing, like stuff like that. No. Why do I want the PGA to have music blasting and chugging content? I don't know that they actually had chugging content, but part of the Live Tour is that they want to put fun back into. Yeah, I think there should be, but golf doesn't need to be brought into this thing where they have all this crazy atmosphere building. You ever been on a golf course, Rich?
A couple of times, Mike.
Quite a
couple
bit.
of times.
Quite a bit. You've watched guys. Wasn't your spot that you worked a bunch of years like on the 18th?
Yeah. The last we've been on the first year I worked out at the John Deere Classic. We were on the 18th tee, the 18th tee, and the 17th green.
Okay, so when you're there, how much can you feel the stress and feel the excitement in the air as this guy has to put this drive in the right spot so that he can be ready to win this match or lose this match or be in the money or out of the money? You feel it, don't you?
You do?
Do you need to add to it by having music bumping? I just lost internet. Okay, for the recording purposes, I'm still going. I don't know what happened to my internet.
Okay.
Oh,
I can hear you again though. But no, I don't
lost
think
internet altogether, so it's back.
Okay. No, I
still
don't
recording.
think you need to try and improve that at all. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, you don't need to turn a PGA Tour event into what you saw in Happy Gil.
Right. And I lost internet again. Okay. What is going on? This is annoying. Rich, I'm sorry. I keep losing internet. I don't know what's going on. I know that you're there. I can see you now.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I haven't watched. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't watch golf on TV. I don't think I'm going to watch a PGA Tour event versus a Live Golf event that's on TV. But I mean, if anything, this merger, the one thing I've gotten out of this merger is that this is maybe the first time with sports that affect the U.S. market, where a foreign entity is getting involved and impacting our sports.
Yep.
I mean, would you have, this is why maybe there's so much negative or so much, well, it's probably no big deal versus the people that are so extreme of saying, I'm no longer going to watch golf if golf is going to be associated with this.
Yeah. So that's a huge thing.
Is going to be in bed with the Saudi government.
And that's a huge thing that we have to look at. I do like some. So before we get into that, to the politics side of it, let's also bring some of the good stuff that Liv is doing, because we've been really negative on it. But there's some really great things, like players getting paid like other sports. Hey, Rich, if the Cubs lose tonight, how much does it affect how much Stroman's getting paid to pitch tonight?
Nothing. He's gonna get his salary, whether he pitches one inning or whether he pitches a complete game shutout. So he doesn't have to worry about how much he's going to be paid.
What about but surely in football, if you don't win a week, you're going to lose money, right?
Nope.
Oh. Basketball?
Nope.
Soccer?
No. But golf is a sport where you get paid on your performance. The higher you finish on the leaderboard, the more money you're going to come away with that weekend.
Right. By the way, these two now don't get me wrong. I think the purse money has started leveling up. It's started coming back. But when you look at how much these tour events are actually making, between sponsorships, between all of that stuff, players only get paid based on their performance. That's kind of rough. You have a bad week. There's guys who have one bad shot. One bad shot takes them out of the money. You can't, that's not a good way to live. So again, one thing I'd like to see, sure, let's see these players getting, once you hit a certain percent, you get paid a minimum salary even. I'm not saying you have to be getting paid $100 million a year. That's ridiculous. $100,000 a year? Couple $100,000 a year? Maybe even $1 million a year? Because you're putting forth the effort. Most of these guys have to pay to get into these events. And then not only do they have to pay to get into these events, they pay for their hotel rooms, they might get rental cars depending on what level they are, but if they don't make the cut, all of these things happen, and these guys are out tons of money, and you're not guaranteed any money. I like that golfers are getting paid to show up. And then they get a bonus if they win. By the way, I think depending on your rank, so what I think it should be, and this is what I actually think in tennis, because tennis is very similar, you should get paid based on the amount of money, based on your ranking. Now,
okay.
And then the highest tiers get so much and blah, blah, blah. You show up. If you don't show up, it's like a game check. If you show up, if you try to get out there, you get a game check, right, Rich?
Mm-hmm. Good.
So let's do that with golf. If you're willing to show up, if you're doing these things, we're going to write you a check that says, hey, you showed up. We appreciate that. Let's make sure you're taken care of this week. Some way, shape, or form. Then, after that is where you get a bonus. And maybe you don't pay what Liv was paying. Liv was paying what they paid because they had to get guys off the PGA Tour. That's what they had to do. In order to get any of those number of those guys off of the tour and onto the live tour, they had to pay this amount of money. Period. Otherwise, none of these guys are going there. I'm not saying you have to pay that kind of money, but pay them a decent amount based on their ranking. The top 10 get paid $1 million for going. By the way, I think if you make the cut, you get it. And again, I don't know. We don't have 100% what it's going to look like. But if they have cuts, if you make the cut, you get a bonus. If you make the top 10, you get a bonus. If you win, you get a bonus. Make it that way. I like that structure. But these guys deserve to get paid just for showing up. So,
see, I did just see a story, though, today saying that golfers who remained loyal to the PGA Tour would receive equity shares in the new for-profit enterprise being formed between the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia. So the new company.
okay.
So all of this that's coming along, it's not saying that live golf is going to go away. It's just, I think, if anything, right now it seems like, from the way I've heard people talk about it and the way that maybe I'm thinking of it with my little knowledge of golf, it almost seems like you're going to have this new entity that the Saudi Public Fund is forming with the PGA is going to allow them to have an easier way to market their own tour so they can have more media coverage in North America and be able to play in more tournaments on American soil, I guess, but also allow their players that want to play in the majors go be able to play like at Augusta or Augusta, just to name one.
But
because
again,
those players couldn't play in Augusta because they defected.
No, that's not true.
Oh,
Augusta.
well, that's right. Augusta was separate.
Augusta is its own thing. By the way, all of the majors, except for the PGA Championship, all of them are their own entities and can invite whoever they want. By the way, most golf tournaments are that way. They adhere to the way that the PGA wants them to do it. That way you get PGA status and you get better players. But most of the tournaments are privately run.
Oh, that's right. I think I could see that. You would almost either have tournament exceptions or sponsors exceptions.
Right.
To get other people automatically in without having to make the cut.
Yeah. So
yeah, okay.
I don't know.
I stand corrected on that one.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. It'll be fun to see. Like I said, I hope these guys are going to start getting paid well. And if they are, good. If not, what's the point? So, okay, Rich, anything else with the Live Golf PGA debacle?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
Not knowing much about golf, I probably fall more in along the realm of, okay, let's see where this goes before forming an actual opinion on it. But yeah, because golf really doesn't affect me that much. I might have another opinion on it, like if a representative from the Saudi Public Investment Fund bought like a basketball team or a football team or a baseball team and became the primary shareholders in that, I might have a little bit more of an opinion. But with golf, I really don't.
Okay.
Just being honest on how I feel about them getting in.
That is a
getting in bed.
legitimate thing. Now, I did find out, again, listening to Dan Patrick, it looks like with the NFL and the NBA, yeah, I believe it's those two, you actually have to have a front person. It can't just be an entity joining to buy a team. So, yes, it can be an investment group. You can have people joining you for it, but you have to have a front person. because of the way the Saudi public trust works, there wouldn't be a front person for that, and that group can't own a majority of the shares. So I don't know if that makes sense, but somebody has to own 30% or more, and be the largest stakeholder, and in that you have to have, like, because of that, like Liv couldn't own the majority of the
of a franchise,
right. So
in the and I'm sure the MLB is the same way.
Man, that would be. Oh man, could you? I mean, either football or NASCAR. Could you imagine if anybody, like, oh man, football or baseball, America's sports. Man, that would be ridiculous. So, okay. With that being said, Rich, do you have any shout-outs for the week?
Yeah, I do. I gotta give a belated happy anniversary to Josh and Ashley Couture.
Yeah.
Celebrated their anniversary this past week.
Wasn't it like 17 years or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah. Good on them. That's exciting. Like, I hear that and I'm like, man, Danielle and I are we're 6 years in? 5 years in. Oh no, we're 6 years in. We're 6 years in. Yeah, that's right. We're 6 years in. Yeah, and I'm sitting here like, man, 10 more years. That seems like forever, but it's also not. I mean, you guys are not that far off, right?
We're on for 12. It'll be 13 in December.
Man, 13 years. Good on you guys, and good on them. So, okay. Anything else before we let the people go?
No, Mikey, it was 15 years. 15-year anniversary.
Okay.
15.
15.
Yeah. No, I don't think I have anything else. Mike, you got anybody? In your sleep-deprived state?
I don't think so.
Okay. Did we get any reactions or comments?
Solomon Stroop gets a shout out for the week. He liked the video, so yeah.
Thank you, Solomon. All right, Mike. If they're watching us here on Facebook or listening to us through the YouTube, watching or listening on YouTube, how else can they access the show?
Well, if you want to take us in the car and listen to us while you drive, check us out anywhere where you get your podcasts, as we are on all the major platforms: Google, Amazon, YouTube, or Google, Amazon, Apple, Spotify, just to name a few. Check us out there. And Rich, you already shouted it out, but if they don't want to join us on Facebook, where should they go to watch us?
Look us up on YouTube, and wherever you watch or listen to us, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And just like we did for Solomon Stroop, if you're on the live video feed and you give a reaction, no matter what the reaction is, we'll make sure to share that at the end of the show.
Ooh.
And if it's a comment, we'll make sure to read the comment either at the end of the show or maybe even during the conversation if we catch it in time.
Where do you want them to go to participate in that poll question you're going to put live tomorrow or tonight or whenever?
Yeah, you can find those poll questions on our Facebook page, both Balls and Sticks or fans of Balls and Sticks.
Okay.
And if you vote the poll, share it.
Yep.
Share it with people to increase the traffic on our Facebook page. And more votes means more shout-outs. So if you vote in the poll, we'll give you a shout-out as well.
Yep. And Rich, what's it time to do?
Mike, let's go ahead and roll the outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.